Welcome to 8.0.1. On this episode, we will be discussing the pre-patch content with as few spoilers as possible for what just happened this week, what we've been up to, and we will be visiting two new friends from the Halfhill Report, and more. Let's start the Gnome Train!
Welcome to Frazzlecast, a podcast by a Blizzard fan gnome about World of Warcraft and geeky stuff. I promise you, they do talk about the World of Warcraft. They just go off the rails sometimes.
Hello, Internet. It is Frazzly the Awesome Gnome. Each week, we are joined by awesome people from around Azeroth and beyond. This is episode 66. Let's use my customized ultra-safe transporter and head on over to the Lazy Turnip and meet up with our guest this week. As Spencer Downey pointed out, this is the day 5000 of WoW being live. And for that day, I am live from the Lazy Turnip with my friends from the Halfhill Report, Professor Taliep and Toshmifune.
Hey, everyone.
Hello.
And the Frazzlecast bards are here with us, so if you don't hear Pandaren music, that's because it's part of the set list, so they'll play it when they get around to it. But I bring bards with me wherever I go.
Well, I like
Good
it.
idea.
I don't know how Leylon feels about it, but, and Denden's probably got, fingers in his ears, but, I'm good with it.
Hey, it's just bringing diversity all across Azeroth.
Well, we are all the same as your recent...
Yes! Oh,
Oh, no, that was a spoiler. Oh, no. Oh, no.
But by the download, this will help me out and actually help me at the end of this episode. Oh, boy, that song. I got inspired by Pat Crane singing on I was like, you know what? I want to do another song, because I've done singing in the past, and there'll be more singing on future episodes, everybody. So be warned.
We have completely lost the audience. We have completely lost the audience at this point. They have no idea what we're talking about.
Yes. But you know what? What time is it, Epicinsanity?
It's time to go around the table.
Great idea. What have we been up to recently?
Well, we've been enjoying the new content thoroughly. We played through both the quest lines on the Alliance side and the Horde side, and we've done a lot of the world quests, collecting gear.
And Tosh, what have you been up to?
Well, I got back from my trip to Connecticut. Oh, wait a minute. That's the wrong part of the show notes. Okay. Sorry. That's not my line. That's your line. I'm sorry. Okay, we're doing a table. As Taliep said, we're playing partners. We were leveling a pair of Hordes to bring up for BFA, and then I got impatient. We just used our boost. But we've been bringing them up to level, and then with our Pandaren mains, going doing world quests and bringing those up. And other than that, outside of WoW, as I mentioned, in the pre-show before we went on the air, I work about an average of 11, 12 hours a day. So I come home, I eat, play WoW, and then I go to bed, and I get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and do it again.
Wow. I know a lot of people who work long hours in early days.
He does both. Early and late.
Yes. So that's the life of any content creator, is you work long hours, you play WoW, and then you still have to work long hours to work on content that you're not getting paid for.
Exactly. But you know what? It gives right brain something to do, and it makes me very happy. It's something so different from what I do on a day-to-day basis that, playing WoW, that's my happy place.
Same with me. It's one of the things I love to do. I got back from my trip to Connecticut and had a great time, got to hang out with family, and except for working on some pre-patch quests, I did not do a lot of WoW. I was like, this is my time with my family. Podcasts are all pre-recorded, so except for keeping up on news, and boy, did I have a lot of news to write down for the show. But other than that, I was like, you know what? Let me be off my devices. I'm not going to be like my nephews and playing Fortnite at every hour that they could. I don't know what they like about Fortnite. I'm sorry, Fortnite fans. I don't get it. But yeah, it was a lot of downtime. Got to relax. got to definitely listen to Before the Storm, and I finished that today. I won't go into details on the book. I still want to give time for people to read the book, because there are probably people like me who have not even started the book or are still working on it. It's awesome, especially King Anduin. Oh, dreamy King Anduin. But
he is very.
Oh yes, very pretty, amazing voice. Anyway, when I was there to a antique radio museum, this was amazing. As a podcaster, as a creator, and someone working on a communication degree, it was awesome seeing where we've come and the strides that we've gone in communication. I mean, we take it for granted that we're sitting down here on a voice chat recording stuff. I mean, it's amazing what they had to do before. And they had 2 studios with mics all around. I think I saw an Electro Voice RA320, so a very new mic. I didn't see my mic there, but it might have been somewhere. I saw some old mics. I even saw the mic that's in the Professor Report logo. I was like, that's awesome. And they had like the Foley and stuff like that. And they did like the chimes, the door opening and closing, troops marching. It was just an amazing experience. So if you're in Connecticut, the Antique Radio Museum, amazing. And I found out there's actually a TV museum in my hometown. So I'm going to have to go to that at some point. So I'm more interested in audio versus video, but even video is still cool. I used to do video a lot. And the last of my non-gaming stuff is I went to Hershey's Chocolate World. I've been to Hershey a few times. The amazing thing at this one was we did their create your own candy bar. And you take a ticket, you scan in, say what you want, what the base, and you follow your chocolate bar down a conveyor belt.
Oh, wow.
Was it a golden ticket?
Yes.
Yay!
I've got the golden ticket. It was awesome. And it's like my dream of like, I watched Mr. Rogers. I watched the how stuff works, how things are made, the old Tech TV videos that they used to do back when Tech TV was still around. And it was just so cool seeing this candy bar go through. And it even did like that candy bath that they had, which was a lot of fun. It was like really the highlight of my trip, other than seeing my family in the radio museum. That candy bar just showed me what goes into stuff. So I really enjoyed it. And plus they gave us a lot of candy and we bought a lot of candy. So I'm trying to really ration myself. Otherwise I might turn into a Pandoran.
Hey, easy.
Wait.
I can hear you.
I was thinking about Toshmifune.
Oh.
But yeah, that was great. And like I said, I listened to Before the Storm and Blizzard. Thank you for giving us a little bit of pre-patch content, but not where like 2 years ago we were in Connecticut and I was hunched over a computer at all hours of the day trying to get all the transmog and toys and invasions. I actually enjoyed having a pre-patch that was not quite so involved. In WoW, I did both parts of the War of Thorns pre-patch the way both of you did. I did it on Fraz and my Horde alt. Nobody knows I have a Horde alt. Nobody knows. And I enjoyed it. Thunda is now 106. I had an idea to hopefully get Thunda up to 110 before BFA. I might possibly make it.
Invasions.
Yes.
Invasions.
Oh, that was amazing. The XP on that. Yes.
Yeah. That's the quick way to do it.
Yeah. And you know what's kind of nice? Not having to worry about AP on the artifact. I just, whenever I get a new relic, put it in there, but don't have to worry about traits.
Yeah.
It's kind of nice doing that. One final thing. I love the new account-wide PvP honor system. I was on Thunda 2 weeks ago, and I was PvPing with like Moonfire. And I love that all my honor went into the same honor pool as Frasley. So I didn't feel like I was wasting time PvPing on Thunda. I had actually not done as much PvP on alt because of that.
I've never PvP'd, and I don't know. I'm not that level of competitive. That's not the way I play the game. But I was very curious because it appears from listening to podcasts and hearing things about that, it looks like they've introduced the equivalent of the Nemesis system that they've used in other games that I'm aware of, where literally you can become marked for death by your actions within the PvP environment. Is that correct? That I think I'm right in that's basically modeled after the Nemesis system.
Right now, it's only in Darkshore once the world quests are unlocked from the pre-patch content, but I'm hoping that eventually goes to the whole world. I haven't figured out like what level stuff opens up. But it would be kind of nice that say somebody comes into Ironforge and kills me over and over and over and over again. Not that that's ever happened. And it would be nice if they then became an assassin and you're walking around the city. But yeah, right now it's on one zone, but hopefully it adds it into more. I've been kind of staying off war mode just for a little bit.
That's my understanding, that it will be worldwide except for some safe zones in cities.
Right now it's only in Darkshore. I would love to see it go worldwide, because then you would have content in different areas. It's been fun seeing the raiding teams of Horde that are lying out in Darkshore, which is why I'm kind of scared to go to Darkshore right now in war mode.
Yeah, seeing corpses scattered
scary.
about.
Yeah. Let's move into main topics. You're on a podcast.
Yes, we are.
Called the Halfhill Report, which I love that podcast, and I believe and hope many of the listeners love it, because it is such a fun listen. Like every week I'm listening, I'm like, I'm hearing stuff from Halfhill. It's awesome.
Well, thank you very much.
It's fun to do.
It is.
That's the fun about content creation, is it's fun doing that, and it's fun trying new things. Velmic, I love how you're creating new characters and you're trying things out.
I do enjoy voicing Velmic. I'm a little hesitant now about Eamon, because we were on with the Geek Card, and the guys over on Geek Card pointed out that my accent is more Irish than Scottish. And then I thought, oh my God, I don't want to be the Dick Van Dyke of podcasting. That would be very upsetting.
I like Dick Van Dyke.
Well, yes, but okay, let's face it. His accent in Mary Poppins was the only one I've ever heard worse was Costner in Prince of Thieves. Oh, it's just awful.
You haven't heard mine then.
But you're not a famous actor as far as we know.
As far as we know.
That's true. No, I am related to Orlando Bloom. No, I'm not.
I would have believed you. You could have left.
I would have believed you too. I would have absolutely. Yeah, if you hadn't laughed, I would have bought that completely.
I do have one thing that I am related to, though. I have a distant ancestry to Mark Twain, which explains.
Really?
Yes.
Well, that's something to be proud of.
I had an aunt who looked through our entire line, found that we are connected to Mark Twain. I'm like, if anybody to be connected to, Mark Twain fits me.
Yeah.
I would agree with that 100%.
Mm-hmm. Me too. Congratulations.
I was thinking, I feel like I'm just like driving down a boat just along my river raft.
No. It's got to be a raft on the Yangtze floating through Pandaria. There was a Mark Twain reference in one episode. I talk about, upcoming shows at the end of every show. I referenced Life on the Yangtze, which is, I was referencing, Life on the Mississippi.
As a gnome, things go over my head sometimes.
I'll try not to punch you.
Okay, that's good. Hey, but if you do, I charge a gold piece.
Well, that's a good idea.
I'm already up to 1 million gold already.
Ow.
Yes.
Was it worth it?
No pain, no gain.
That'll take care of the chiropractic bills for a while anyway.
Yes. Absolutely. So what got both of you into World of Warcraft?
Well, I have a story about that. I started playing in about 2010 sometime. I think it was during Cataclysm, but I'm not sure because I didn't know enough to know. But I have the Stood in the Fire achievement.
Yes.
I think I was. I was hanging out with a group of people in Second Life, and one night they decided, a couple of them played Warcraft, and one night they decided, let's all go to World of Warcraft. I was a little hesitant because I had never, ever played a computer game in my entire life. I had watched my sister playing Tetris, and that was about my extent of computer gaming. So I said, okay, but you guys will have to help me because I don't know anything. When we got there, I sort of got set up with a character, started blundering around, and they all took off because they were going faster than I was. And of course, I made a night elf druid. So I was blundering around in that part of the world, not knowing what the action bar was for, not understanding there was a map, not knowing much of anything. And I don't know why I even kept playing, but somehow I was determined I was going to beat it. And so I just kept playing, and finally I figured it out. Now I like it a lot.
Second Life. I never got into Second Life. I was involved in Active Worlds, if that at all rings a bell.
I think I've heard of that.
That was one of the the competitors to Second Life and like those Worlds Inc. and stuff like that. But yeah, WoW would definitely be it'd be different to Second Life.
Yes, it was quite different. I mean, I guess that could be considered sort of a gaming theme. At least I knew how to operate the mouse and that kind of stuff. But it was so different. I know that the people that I came with had no idea how totally lost I was. They couldn't even comprehend, that I didn't understand the map or moving around. And I would take a quest and then I would just run around blindly until I happened to run into whatever it was I was supposed to do. And then I would run around again until I found where I would turn the quest in. I don't even know why I stuck with it because it was very frustrating. Eventually someone did come back and help me a little. They took me to Darnassus, and I thought, well, I'm just going to stay here in Darnassus. I'm never going to leave this place again because, of course, I got killed all the time, just sort of constantly because I was constantly running into things and I didn't know how to fight back.
And now you've had to leave Darnassus because of events.
Yeah.
Let's not.
Kind of sad.
It's very sad.
Yeah.
Well, we'll get to that.
Yeah, but anyway, I figured it out, and now I'm a pretty good player. And really was a life-changing thing.
Do you do RP? Do you do PvP, PvE? What do you do when you're playing WoW?
My favorite thing to do is questing, actually. I've done some RP. We haven't done a lot recently, but we do dabble a little when it happens to come up in the world, although we don't participate formally, but we're kind of always in character, and so we do that when it works. I like achievements, mount collecting, pet collecting, transmog collecting. We don't do PvP, and we don't do dungeons or raiding. We like to do old world dungeons, the kind that we can just go in and kill everything.
Yeah.
So we sort of enjoy that content at a later time than everyone else.
Less hectic, and you could listen to podcasts while you're doing that stuff.
Yes, we could, but it's that we don't live in the same area, so it's the time we spend together. So.
Okay. Over voice and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, very cool. And that is one of the things is you found a community, so you found a tie to it as well.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And Tosh, what about you?
So Taliep and I met on not in Second Life, but on another virtual grid where I was actually a content creator. I had my own world that I had created there. That was, if you're familiar with the movie It's a Wonderful Life, I basically built Bedford Falls. I recreated Bedford Falls in a virtual world. I had the Bijou Theater and Gower's Drugstore and the Bailey Building and Loan and the Bedford Falls High School with the basketball floor opened up with the pool underneath. And so I was a content creator there, and Taliep and I met there. She said, you know what? You're a content creator. I play this game called World of Warcraft, which I was sort of tangentially familiar with. And she said, you should come and see the environments here. I think you will really, really appreciate what the artists have done here. And so she brought me there, and I was fascinated. I would sit there and stare at a particle effect for like 12 minutes trying to figure out, that's a fantastic particle effect. How did they do that? And taking notes, and we started wandering around, and then she decided that she wanted to take me to Booty Bay. And we got to, there's a location just a little bit north of Booty Bay. She said, okay, now follow me, stay close. And I followed close. As soon as I got out into the world, I got ganked by the game instantaneously. I just killed instantly. And I'm like, oh, hey, what's going on here? And she was trying to ghost walk me forward, right? She was like,
to get him back to the village.
Yeah, get me back to the village. And she kept saying, run to me. And I couldn't figure out how to do it. I just kept getting killed. And I said, oh my God, how am I going to get out of this? Why won't? And
he kept accepting in exactly the same spot over and over and over.
Yeah, I would get to my corpse and accept and get killed again.
Don't accept. Run to me. And it just went in one ear and out the other.
And she was completely convinced I would never, ever go back to play. But I was so completely enchanted by the visual environments, the audio environments. I'm mystified. Taliep doesn't play with headphones. I would be lost in the game without the headphones. First of all, I love the auditory environment. It's very, very immersive. Plus, I can hear the bad guys sneaking up on me, which is very helpful. And I became absolutely enchanted by the game and have been there ever since.
And now we play together.
That's awesome. It bolstered your relationship.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Give us another thing to do together. I mean, we do other things too, like watch movies and talk a lot, but we spend most of our time playing WoW.
Playing WoW and making a podcast.
Yes.
Yes, and now making a podcast.
When did you start your podcast?
January of this year.
So other than the worlds you made, did you do any other content creation before then?
No. I mean, if you're talking about on that other grid, no, not really. That's kind of what introduced me. I'm an empty nester. When my kids moved out of the house, I all of a sudden, despite my 11-hour workdays, I found I had a lot of spare time on my hands, and I found out about virtual worlds and kind of became enchanted by the concept of it and went in and immediately got very deeply hooked into building. That's what took me down the rabbit hole.
What inspired you to settle on podcasting?
We were chatting. He was driving a couple-hour drive, and so we were talking on the phone, and we talk about various things while we're doing that. And we started talking about Stormwind University, and he was making jokes about the sports team that would be connected with that. And so we started talking about what were the ones we came up with.
Orgrimmar Community College, Gadgetan Vocational, and Gnomerangan Tech.
Yes!
And then Halfhill Agricultural College. Then we just started talking about that. And the idea of having someone, I think it was first reporting on the sports events, like the battle between the Orgrimmar College and the Halfhill.
Yes, the Fighting Fells of Orgrimmar Community College versus the Halfhill Agricultural College Pandaggies. So as we were making this drive and we were kind of joking, and it really just kind of started out as a complete goof. I have some theater background. I know, you're shocked. I can see it on your face. I have some theater background, no laughing chat room, and some writing background. So we started to talk about a backstory for Toshmifune because, like I said, we didn't do a ton of RP. And then Taliep said something. I started to kind of conceive of him as this, slightly incompetent son of a farming family, a story that we've developed throughout the course of the show. And then Taliep dropped this line, but all he ever wanted to do was write. And somehow, right there on Interstate 10 and Speedway Boulevard in Tucson, Arizona, the show came to life when she said that. I remember the moment. I was just very, very clear. The show came to life. And I said to Taliep, this needs to be a thing. This completely needs to be a thing. And that's kind of where the germ of the show started.
I like how you've been branching into reporting on the world as well, because it's exciting to hear what is somebody that's in this town of Halfhill thinking about everything going on in Azeroth. It kind of keeps that continent alive.
We've started to kind of develop an ethos of the show as a small town view of a very large. It's sort of like, how did the Shire see Middle Earth, right? Sort of that same sort of feeling. But also one of the things I've tried to work into the show, Azeroth is a world, and a world is made up of people. People are distributed along a bell curve, right? There are heroes and villains out 2, 3, 4 sigmas out from the mean, right? Way out on the tail ends of the bell curve. But the vast majority of the world is populated by average people. And of course, the villains and the heroes are what make Warcraft and the story and the world interesting. But what does that world look like from that sort of average, slightly incompetent son of a farming family whose dad had to bribe the college into creating a journalism degree for him, or Velmic, who was a quartermaster for the artificers on the Vindicar? He wasn't a hero. He was a soldier. What does this world look like? What is their reaction to all of this stuff going on around them? That's kind of what the ethos of the show is evolving into. We didn't know that when we started, by the way. It just kind of developed.
I think that's something that a lot of creators don't know from the beginning. Some are amazing at planning out everything, but I like how you're morphing it and you're building its story out. as soon as the pre-patch content happened, I was like, I want to know what Toshmifune is going to say about this. I mean, I'm at the place now where I'm tuning in every episode. I know I'm probably giving you a lot of pressure now to deliver.
That's wonderful.
Tosh is obviously as a Pandaren and basically a peace-loving guy. He's sort of horrified by everything that's happening and very saddened. But also, like anybody in a small town, as this war develops, I think the show will start to sound a little bit like any small town radio broadcast as momentous events are going on. And of course, we've got Eamon out there as our correspondent, sort of bringing the news home.
And doing the report has made our game playing more interesting too, because now while we're doing like these recent quests in Darkshore, we're sort of thinking about that both from Eamon's perspective and then what are we going to include in the podcast. So we're sort of paying attention to more detail in the quests and, people's names. And then we don't use all of that material, of course, but we're doing the quests with that in mind. And so that's kind of been an evolving process, too, that I'm really enjoying.
And it's turned me into a lore junkie. I've always loved the game as long as I've been playing. I've always loved the game. But for me, it was a bit of escapism. It was a way for Right Brain to come out and play. Just very escapist and, do the quest, get a toy, do the quest, get a mount, level up, ding, 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 sort of satisfying that part of my brain. But I've recently come to the realization, it's like I woke up that Taliep and I have been talking about this over the last couple of weeks. We are participants in the longest novel ever written.
Yes.
If you stop and think about it, this has been one long, continuous story arc. And of course, we can't affect the direction of the story, but we get to participate and we get to observe it from inside. It is a startling piece of literature when you stop and look at it that way.
Well, and I think what's causing people anguish over, we won't say what caused the fire. We'll talk about the fire in a second. But I think what's causing people anguish is not knowing what's coming next. And when this novel's not going the way that they want it, they're like, but I want it to go this way. And I'm like, no, this is how the novel's playing. Our world doesn't play out the way we want it to play.
No.
Why would Azeroth play out the way that we want Azeroth to play out?
The story creators, Christy Golden and the other lore creators and story creators, they live in the same world we do. They're obviously observing, they watch the news, they have to live in this world, they're seeing what's going on. And there's part of me, and look, I could be completely wrong, and 2 years from now, somebody could say, boy, did he get it wrong. But I think somehow they're going to turn this into a morality play. Somehow they're holding up a mirror, because ultimately all forms of art, literature and film and music and everything, it holds a mirror up to society. I think ultimately this is going to hold a mirror up to society about tribalism, about factional fighting, about a lot of things that all you got to do is open up your social media feed, turn on the news, walk around in the open air. It's part of the zeitgeist right now. I have to believe that hopefully it's an ultimately redemptive morality play, but there's just something inside me that feels like this is the way they're going to go with it.
Yeah, because Sal on the Converted podcast and also Darkmoon Herald was talking about in Before the Storm, there was a story beat that Sal really picked up on. And I was talking to Sal today. I was like, yeah, this is Blizzard able to talk about a story in a way without offending people in real life, but talking about the concepts. I told Sal, the people who need to hear it, other people who need to change, or the people who relate to that story beat, they're going to see that. And Blizzard's able to talk about stuff, very deep stuff, in a world that's really not going to offend people other than the story not going the way that they want it to go.
Yeah, although we're seeing a lot of emotional reaction to the way the story is going. I'm a sociologist in real life, and my interests are in particularly social change and technology. But I'm really finding it interesting. People's reaction to the direction of the story is very similar to people's reaction to dramatic social change that happens over time. They don't like it.
Yeah. That's
certainly understandable. But it fascinates me how it sort of parallels people's reactions in the real world.
And I like what you just said about studying sociology, and you made a character that fits who you are.
Yes.
And she is just as tough a grader as I have indicated. I'm not even sure I'm going to graduate. I'm starting to worry.
I've had professors as tough as you, Taliep. I'm glad you're not my professor. Or maybe you are, and I don't even know it.
Maybe I am.
Oh, boy.
You'll never know.
And I think, like, that one paper. I'm sorry, in that one paper, I meant to write that a little differently. I'm very sorry.
Well, write it again then.
Okay. Well, I already passed the course, so I'm not going to.
Oh,
okay.
Nice attitude.
Hey, when it's over and done with, I'm good.
I got my credits. I'm done with you. I'm out.
Just don't take another of my classes.
Oh, no. I probably have you on my next course. Oh, no. So, hey, I actually am starting a course on sociology and social justice. Now I'm scared.
Uh-huh.
What have you learned in starting your podcast?
First of all, a tremendous amount of admiration from somebody like you and many of the other podcasts who, okay, you might come on with show notes or a general sense of what you're going to talk about. As you can hear from the long pauses in my talking and the ums and ahs, I work much better with scripted content. Tremendous admiration for people like yourself, Fraz, and many of the other podcasts that I listen to, of their ability to just be extemporaneous and work the room and that kind of thing. When I go on without a script, half of me is just gibbering in terror. Coming on podcasts like this has helped with that a little bit. Obviously, other than just the tech side of things, that discipline of writing and keeping a story arc going, working that every week, and a little surprised sometimes how much work it is to do to produce a weekly scripted podcast.
Yeah.
How long it takes. Yeah. How many hours go into that 15-minute production?
Like, I was honored that you were willing to cameo on the upcoming Fraz report because it just made everything go great. Ali was saying that they loved the episode, and I think your work actually pulled the episode together.
Oh.
That theater major part of you, the way that you ended the episode, I had shivers listening to your audio. I was like, wow.
No, it was very kind of you to say. Thank you.
And yeah, sometimes I would think that I actually prefer working on my scripted content versus this show. I love this show. But yeah, this show can be a lot more difficult trying to keep things going or keep things on top of my head. I've got pauses. I've got stutters and ums. Listeners have probably heard all of the things. You're like, Frasley, come on. You can do better than this. But yeah. If I had known all the hours to produce, it might have actually been a limiting factor in me going ahead with it. Now I've made the time and I've made my life revolve around it, but I would not have started. The little Sparks at BlizzCon last year made a great point. Don't not go into something because of the time involved if you know how much it takes, because you'll make time for it. And I've definitely made time in my life for it to happen. But yeah, watching stuff, listening to stuff nowadays, I'm like, I can now think, okay, it's not just A to B on that show. There's so much work going involved. I've got a friend who does a game every day of the week. And I'm like, the hours of recording, the hours of editing. Yeah.
Wow.
That's amazing.
I love how it makes it productive. I mean, now when I'm doing WoW, I'm like, I'm actually working. I'm doing stuff with it. I mean, because like you brought up a point that Berserker and Navix on the Converted podcast said how like when they play WoW, it makes it productive. And even my time in WoW now is productive when I'm playing it because I have limited time, so I make it valuable.
And the other thing that I've learned is I am pleasantly amazed and surprised of how supportive the WoW podcast community really is of new podcasters and new content. Fraz, obviously, you've been a tremendous friend of the show. Ali, we got just a wonderful, wonderful boost from Ro.
Raven and EJ. Wow, they were the first.
Yeah, they were the first. Yeah, Robbie Glow and Razorbug over on Geek Card and it's just, especially for a new podcaster. Fraz, you wrote in your weekly thing about, look, it's not about the numbers. And I'll admit, I check the numbers every day, and I probably shouldn't. It's very heartwarming as how welcoming the community has been to our little show.
Yeah, I see very little territory in the Blizzard community. Everyone's like, we're not fighting for, you have a listener. Well, we're not going to get that listener. We all realize everyone's not going to like everything that we do or all of what we do or even like what we do. But there's enough people out there. We can all just get along. I've gotten to know so many podcasters through podcasting. It's amazing. I actually I feel like I've got a deeper connection with them because like I understand what they go through and they understand what I go through. It's been amazing, the people who have given me tips and advice.
Yeah, and Pat Crane, and you know, who so freely gives of his advice. And you know, you mentioned in you know what you've been up to. You went to the radio museum, and I was thinking, now podcasting has been around for a while now, and I'm only within the last couple of years started listening to podcasts. But if you stop and think about it, podcasting is not terribly unlike the early days of radio.
Yeah, and it's a more permanent version of even ham radio. The volunteers there, they all had ham radio licenses. And my dad actually was working on becoming a ham radio operator.
Wow.
That's why I enjoyed the museum, was realizing where we came from. And I appreciated the pioneering of the early radio industry to get us to where we are now.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And it's the Wild West. I mean, it's wide open. Now, granted, as Warcraft and Blizzard podcasters and gaming podcasters, we recognize we're playing to a niche community, right? You know, we're not one of these other, you know, big podcasts that has very broad appeal across the spectrum. We are catering to a niche community, but that's a big community.
Oh, yeah. 90 plus shows in that community. And yet, whenever I look at the numbers for this show, it's amazing that I have as many downloads as I have. I'm like, wow, there's people that are willing to give me time.
Yeah, there's so many and so wonderful. I mean, it's impossible to listen to all of them.
Oh, I know. I feel so bad that I can't listen to all of them. I try to make time for all of them, but there's some that I'm like backlogged on. I mean, that's part of the reason I didn't listen to Before the Storm till now. I was listening to podcasts. I was listening to podcasts about WoW, podcasts about podcasting, podcasts about Louis the Canicola.
Wait, what?
Yes. There is a new podcast called Everything is Alive. They interviewed a Canicola, and now they have an episode of interviewing a lamppost.
Oh, my God. Okay. All right. Yeah, definitely sub into that right now.
If you love fictionalized content, if you love storytelling, I felt an emotional bond to this Canicola, and I don't want to say any more, but the episode chugged at my heart so much.
Okay. Everything is Alive. I'm subbing. You know, there are some that, you know, we were talking a little bit before the show about, you know, before the show started, before we went live. You know, I have regular podcasts in my rotation, including shout out to Dungeon Fables, you know, yours and certain other ones that I just have in my regular rotation. But early as we were creating the podcast, somebody asked, well, can you describe it? And I said, yeah, it's somewhere between Prairie Home Companion and Welcome to Night Vale.
Yes.
It's somewhere in there. It's somewhere on that spectrum.
All you need is
Glow Cloud.
The Glow Cloud.
I have a huge art print that my daughter and her husband bought me at San Diego Comic-Con when Welcome to Night Vale was there. It's an art print of the Glow Cloud, and across it says "All Hail the Glow Cloud."
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm a big fan of Welcome to Night Vale.
So before we get into story, I think you touched on it earlier, but with BFA and picking our factional sides, will you be Horde or Alliance?
Tashi is Alliance. Lawful good, thank you very much. I'll let Taliep put her 2 cents in. As a matter of fact, I think there may be some significant reveal coming up on the Halfhill Report regarding this. But, you know, Tashi, while he tries to maintain some sort of journalistic integrity, his heart is clearly with the Alliance. I've always felt an affinity for Alliance, but I recognize that recent events notwithstanding, if you stop and look at it objectively, there's no bad guys.
Yeah.
I mean, Sargeras clearly took a bad turn, but there are very few true bad guys in terms of the factions. These are just a lot of immigrant stories and you know that are easy to demonize, but no pun intended. My heart's going to be with Alliance.
I have always, since almost the very beginning, once I understood the game, I've always played both sides because I always wanted to see the story from both sides. I really couldn't choose a side. Taliep is my main and the one that I play with Tashi, so I'm certainly going to be playing her a lot. I also have a goblin hunter that I started playing. My sister played with me for a while, and we leveled up those characters through Pandaria before she stopped being able to play. And so Zerba has a special place in my heart too, and I do most of the stuff for the Horde with her. So I'll be doing both. And then I think that Tashi and I have to do both sides, even if Toshmifune is largely going to report from the Alliance point of view. I think we still need to know what's going on both sides.
Oh yeah. So we'll play both sides through.
Yeah, that's how I'm with Frasley. Frasley is huge alliance.
Yeah, we saw the armor.
Yeah. And Frasley shows his disdain for the Horde in many ways. And if you listen to the Frasley report enough, you'll hear Frasley's disdain.
Oh, yeah.
I do play the Horde as well because you're right. You wanted to see what goes on in the story. Even with this pre-patch content, I got different sides reading both. And I'm looking forward to the novella coming with the collector's edition, being able to read from one side, Alliance first, and then read the Horde.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, those are going to be interesting.
You said something interesting, Tosh, but in the pre-show, you have a little confession about your Horde alt, right?
Are you talking about Eleandor, the Blood Elf?
Yes.
Oh, he's so pretty. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Or did I just overshare?
No.
No, describe him when you first created him.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So they had the beautiful, went into the barbershop, that beautiful cascading hair kind of cascading down over his right shoulder. And I gave him that very feminine look to him. Oh, it was beautiful. I mean, really between Taliep's character, Sheila, we rolled them, we rolled those two tunes together. It's like, are these two together? Are they sisters? What's going on here? But I have since morphed him a little bit. I picked up a helmet that's an eye patch now, so I gave him a little more rugged look, and now he just looks like the Hathaway shirt man.
Now he has dark hair and not so long. So
dark hair,
not so pretty
anymore.
Much sexier.
I got to work a backstory for him.
In glowy eyes?
We haven't done the new eyes yet. We haven't taken time to do that, but
nope.
Or are they even available yet?
Yes, with the pre-patch, they became available.
With the eye patch, I'm not sure how that will work.
That's true.
I'll get a coordinating eye patch.
So the past 2 weeks has been very interesting for story. Overall, there's been a lot of tense feelings regarding the story and sadly some not so nice words to devs and writers. Mm-hmm. I'm not at all condoning what people have said. I think taking personal attacks to devs is wrong, but the feelings I can understand because there's a lot of tension and we got some heavy hitters. I mean, when I saw the Warbringer Jaina short, I was like, that it was so impactful. I mean, that song is still in my head. I mean, that's
an incredible work of art. Isn't it just amazing?
Yeah.
There's so much to that.
When Robert Brooks, who worked on the short with Laura Bailey, hosted the lyrics in English, I read through them and I reading the lyrics, I'm like, the words in it. This, with what we saw on the first week of pre-patch, going into this war where we stopped at the docks after attacking Horde and seeing all those wisps in Astronar. Oh, that choked at my heart too when I saw those wisps just floating by.
Yeah.
Oh, the emotional reaction I have had to the story so far, it's astounding to me how emotional I've been about this, not on the level that you're seeing on some of the ugly sides of social media, but just emotionally moved by the story and what's happening and the real tragedy of it all. I'll admit to some rather unpleasant anger, again, not at the devs, not at the story writers, but within the context of the story.
Yeah.
Why is this happening?
Even seeing Teldrassil burning, that was like the second or third character I made was a night elf. So Darnassus has a huge part for me, and seeing it burning and trying to escape that city, that was painful.
Oh, it's heartbreaking.
Yeah,
no question about it. It was heartbreaking.
There was another Warbringer short that was released for Sylvanas, and don't watch the short online before playing the game. That's all I'll say on that. But yeah, Darnassus is now burning, and next week I'll talk about what caused the fire. I want to give people a week to play before we talk about it here. But what are your reactions to the overall story in the Chaos Run right now?
It's such a sophisticated story with so much nuance in it. There are clearly heroes and villains, and I think if you pay close attention, I think that both of those positions are somewhat ambiguous and yet justified. I know there's been a lot of talk about not all actions can be justified. But I think if you really pay attention, like to the videos and that sort of thing, I think it all works amazingly well. I just think they've just done an extraordinary job. And I'm so optimistic about how they're going to be continuing all of this in the future.
It's like what you said earlier about it being a living novel. We're seeing a story play out in front of us.
Yes. And a wonderful, amazing story, too.
The emotional gravitas that they have put into this, very real, grown-up emotional gravitas. By the way, I just want to touch briefly on the Warbringer things. I said to somebody recently, these are better than the last 3 Wachowski films put together.
Yes.
But they're just amazing. And the way they're setting up the story, and of course, I shared my opinions earlier in the show about what my opinion is they're going with the story. But the story so far is really astounding. And now I heard somebody say recently that it's far more interesting from the Horde side. I also like to think that, look, no one is the villain of their own story, right? I mean, there aren't that many sociopaths. And I think step back and look at it objectively, you can kind of understand where both sides are on this. You may not agree. You may find actions or inactions reprehensible. But if you step back and look at it in terms of storytelling, I completely get it.
Yeah. It's caused me to reflect on who I am. It's kind of like, who would I follow if this was in real life? It's really...
Bane,
absolutely. Bane is great. Unless we don't know. What if Bane was the one that caused it? Who knows? Well,
who knows? You're right. Hashtag Bane for War Chief.
Yes. Bane was making a campfire and roasting s'mores. And the thing I like about it, too, is it's letting them talk about subjects. Right now, I don't like talking about what's going on in the real world because everyone has their side that they're so on. And I feel like I'm going to offend somebody. At least here, I know people won't agree with my viewpoint, but I can talk about where I see the game going. And I feel less anger. I mean, we're tied to these factions. We're tied to the characters in it. But I don't feel like I'm going to offend somebody the same way that I tell somebody about something about a Democrat or Republican. I don't want to, and that's topics I don't talk about in life because I don't want to upset people. But here we can talk about those moral subjects.
Oh yeah.
Some people have gotten very heated about it, sort of duplicated the same atmosphere in attacking the devs and Christy Golden and that sort of thing, who apparently had nothing to do with the Warbringer series, but she's taking a lot of heat for it.
Well, Taliep and I were talking earlier this evening before the show about, the outrage culture out there that's so prevalent in social media and the tribalism at all levels that's going on. And ultimately, again, I'll kind of something I said earlier. I think that's one of the things that the storytellers are dealing with and are addressing. Of course, it's sparking an emotional reaction. That's what you want to do as an artist. That's what you want to do. And I truly believe that the people at Blizzard, in addition to creating a game that's a lot of fun to play and obviously extremely lucrative for Blizzard, but I think the people that are crafting the story and the people that are crafting the environments, they truly are artists. And artists want to create an emotional reaction, whether it's literature or film or sculpture, or people would debate me on this, or stand-up comedy, which is an art form. They are looking to create some sort of an emotional reaction, and clearly they've succeeded.
Yeah, and this is not even the main expansion. We're in free patch.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so many different aspects of it. The very end of the Jania video just gave me chills up and down my spine, and that almost never happens to me.
Oh yeah, that video, and when we saw the final raid boss, not Jaina, but the ship. That ship's not going away. I want that ship to come back again, and I would love to have like a raid on that ship.
Yeah. It's, and I heard somebody talking on a podcast. I don't have a ton of history. I'm not deeply emotionally invested in the character of Jaina Proudmoore, but I think I'm going to become emotionally invested in that character. She's obviously a very compelling character, and I want to go back and explore, her lore.
Same. I played the Follow Theramore actually within hours of the Warbringer short because I wanted to understand. I never played that scenario, and I understand it a little bit better. And Jaina is not a perfect person. I think that kind of appeals to me. Is Jaina makes mistakes. Jaina tries to.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. She's definitely Marvel and not DC. No question about it. Yeah.
Jaina's not Batman.
I'm Batman.
Oh, now I get to stick Jaina going around. I'm Proudmore. I'm Proudmore.
Well, I mean, they all are. They're all nuanced. None of them are, I don't think, cartoon characters. I mean, they've all of the principles.
Well, technically they are, but
so far.
I'm sorry. I couldn't resist. I'm sorry.
They've all got depth to them and makes us want to follow them and know more.
Yeah, I really enjoyed following the Before the Storm book to learn more about everything going in it, and I had chills this morning when I finished that book for the first time. And I won't talk about the beats of that one either because I want to give people time to read that book. Oh, and that book, Christy Golden said, is in its 6th printing.
It should be.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's a book someone could read even if they don't play WoW. I think it's that good.
Yeah, I agree.
So I'm only going to say one thing about the book. If we don't get to meet and hang out with Safi and Grizek in the game, I'm going to be so mad.
Me too.
Me 3.
I'm going to be so mad.
If they set all that up and then don't use those characters, it's going to be very disappointing.
And if they didn't meet on the speed barge in Thousand Needles, that has to be their meet cute. That has to be their meet cute. And okay, chat room, if there are any rom-com fans in there, you'll know what I mean by meet cute.
It goes over my head, but again, I'm a gnome, so.
Come on, chat room. Somebody has to know what I'm talking about. Give me something here.
I think they're all playing WoW right now.
Crickets, nothing. Nobody gets me.
There's a couple tweets from Christy, then one from Jeremy Fiesel I want to point out. Christy said, to kind of paraphrase what they're saying, he said, remember how they said that they would be interweaving story through all mediums. And they said the announcement video, the chapter Before the Storm, online comic reunion, and now Jaina Warbringer's piece. And this is just the ramp up to BFA. So they're weaving story through multiple mediums. And then after some of the attacks toward Christy, some of the personal attacks, Christy said, there is so much I cannot answer for you right now. But again, I say we have so much story to share. That gives me hope for what we're seeing too. They're like any creator. There's things that they don't want to give away everything before it's all over. We're watching a show.
Yeah. It's very exciting, that comment of hers. I find so exciting that they have so much story to share. Gives us a lot to look forward to.
It really does. I don't want them to spoil anything. I don't want them to say, oh, everybody relax because this thing happens and it's not going to be too bad. I want this to unveil like a novel. I'm looking forward to turning each page.
And shout out to Poppy for getting Tasha's reference.
Yes, thank you, Poppy. Another rom-com fan out there.
Oh, yeah.
I know you're shocked. He's a rom-com fan.
Well, I'm a little shocked with you, but not with Poppy. Poppy, I know, is a huge rom-com fan. And Jeremy Fiesel on Twitter said that, remember, the journey has only barely begun into the next chapter of the story. There is much to come. It would be like opening up the 6th book of Harry Potter, and the first page says Snape kills Dumbledore.
Wait, what? Oh my God, what? Come on.
It's been so how many years since the 6th book?
Great, thank you. I was barely into the Goblet of Fire. You've ruined the whole thing for me now.
Well, and then the Horcruxes and stuff.
Well, at least I hope Gandalf, defeats the Balrog. I mean, that's,
yes. Right. Right.
Just please tell me nothing happens to either one of the Weasley. Okay. Please just tell me nothing happens to the Weasley brothers.
Well, they go to Pleasantville and they become colorized versions of the black and white versions that they were.
Perfect. Thank you. I feel a lot better now.
And they're also part of the Matrix.
Good one. That's a good one.
Well played, sir. Well played.
So with Tuesday coming up, if you've pre-purchased BFA, you will get the Battle for Lordaeron scenario. So, any predictions for the Battle for Lordaeron?
I'm sort of interested in the fact that they are probably, most likely, going to release the Ashara video next week.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah.
And I cannot, for the life of me, think of any connection between the Battle for Lordaeron and the Ashara video. But the fact that they're releasing them in the same week could be just coincidence because this is the week that they're doing those things. But it kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it?
It really does, because I was thinking the same thing. I was like, Ashara, an old god, and then Lordaeron, an old city.
Wait. Cthulhu rises. Cthulhu rises, huh? All right. Oh, yeah, my references are just completely obscure. Nobody gets me.
I'm a gnome again. I'm sorry. Go over my head.
Chat room? Anybody? Cthulhu? Nobody? All right. Okay.
So, I mean, in terms of predictions, I mean, we kind of know the final outcome. So it's sort of what will they surprise us with in terms of the process this time.
Especially because the cinematics are hidden from us. Even the cinematics for what just happened this week were kept secret until Tuesday.
Right.
Yeah. Yep.
Right. Which is an amazing feat in itself that they've kept this stuff secret.
I know.
Thank goodness. Thank goodness Sony wasn't running it, right? And would have been out there on social media 3 months ago.
I was so surprised when Harry Potter walked into Darnassus and set it on fire. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh,
really? I didn't expect that either. Yeah, that surprised me as well.
But I mean, Harry Potter was just. Remember, Harry Potter's a Horcrux. Oh.
You're killing me, Smalls.
I'm sorry.
I don't think he meant to do it, though.
No.
I think his wand just kind of got out of control.
Yes.
Would it be too much of a spoiler to say what I thought was going to happen with the tree that didn't happen? Is that too much? We've been really good about spoilers so far, I think.
How close is your theory to what happened?
Way, way off.
Okay, then go ahead.
I thought that some goblin was going to do an explosion.
Yes, I did. I because that would have made so much sense, and especially with the Safi and Grizzix.
Thank you.
Yeah, they sort of crossed my mind, but mainly I just thought it was some, because that's what goblins do.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Orc Public Radio just dropped something in chat room. Oh my God, Metzen comes back. Metzen comes back. He's like, I changed my mind. You guys are screwing it up. No.
Yeah.
No, I'm coming back in. Get the hell out of my office. I'm
the second coming of Thrall. The heavens open up.
Oh, don't get started about Thrall around Taliep. I've actually been jealous about Thrall around Taliep. She's got a big thing for Thrall.
Yeah, I love Thrall. Ever since we made the goblins, it's nice to us. After the shipwrecks and everything, and we were kind of struggling around on the island, and he took care of us little goblins, and so I've been fond of him ever since. Kind of like a father figure.
Oh, there you go. Another theory in chat room. Nami was visiting Darnassus, and it was a cooking accident. Brilliant.
That's really a good one.
Brilliant. I couldn't wait to work into the show. Velmic. I think that's half the reason I made Velmic a food critic, was so that he could go visit Nami and be very kind of evasive about, this food not so good, little burnt, Now,
so. Was Nami in Warlords?
Was he in Warlords? I don't remember.
He was in Pandaria.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, he was.
I don't think he was in Warlords.
So, because he's from Halfhill. So.
Oh, thank you very much for giving us Nomi. Thank you. The food I've burnt because of Nomi. The delicious food I could have eaten.
You mean because we sort of tarred and feathered him and pushed him,
ran him out of town?
We got your cast-offs.
You don't have to eat there, There's lots of places.
But his food is so. The prices are so good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even though you throw out half the meal.
Yeah, and when he doesn't burn it, then it's pretty special.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. When he's on, he's on. You gotta get him that. When he's on, he's on.
Will Nomi return in BFA, or will he wait an expansion?
Ooh, what would they do with him? I mean, I would love to think there's going to be some lighthearted content here. I deeply, deeply hope there is, because, oh my gosh, this could be a heavy couple of years.
Yeah.
But they're going to have to. And that's why I'm thinking Safi and Grizek maybe come on and bring, maybe they work them through in the arc of the story, because clearly they are an example, something cross-factional working out, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I liked Hildebrand in Final Fantasy XIV, because when you're going through this very tough main story, and then what do you have? You have a Hildebrand quest come out. So you do that to kind of get your comedic relief, and I think we do need a comedic relief. So
yeah,
listen to the Frazzle Report. I'll try to be that comedic relief.
Absolutely. I love the Frazzle Report.
I'll thank you, and I love the Halfhill Report. I mean,
thanks for tuning in to Mutual Admiration Society.
Now, where's that 2 million gold that I asked you for?
It's in the mail.
Okay,
put it on account. Put it on account. On account, I can't afford it.
Oh, nice. Okay,
huge.
And this is Frazzling not getting the gold.
Wait a minute. Did you just wah-wah? How dare you, sir? How dare you? Those who have watched the news recently will get that. How dare you, sir? How dare you?
I'm always pushing the line.
Trifling gnome. Your arrogance will be your undoing.
Well, now that the show's gone downhill, I think that's the perfect time for the outro.
I think you're right.
It's a good time to wind it up.
It is.
So thank you both for joining us tonight on Frazzlecast. Where can we find you on the interwebs?
Well, you can find us on Twitter at Halfhill Report, and via email at halfhillreport@yahoo.com. And the podcast itself is found wherever you find your podcasts.
I find my podcast in a broken down washer in the backyard. Will I find it there?
Oh, is that what happened to that one episode?
Yes.
You can find Taliep on Twitter at P-Taliep. It wouldn't let me do Professor, so I just had to do P.
I guess Tashi should probably get a Twitter account, because right now it's just the Halfhill Report.
You should.
Yeah, it's kind of nice having two different Twitters, because then you can be crazy on one and then not so crazy on the other one.
Yeah. So that's where you can find us. Thank you, chat room.
Yes, thank you, chat room.
We were lost.
Thank you, Professor Taliep and Toshmifune, for joining me. I'm back at my home of Ironforge until we one day reclaim Gnomergon. Which means it's time for a quick rundown of news. There's a lot this week, especially as I missed 2 shows worth due to my Australian adventure. So the BFA pre-patch launched July 17th, and lots of things have changed in pre-patch. We are now on the new 8.0 systems. We had some glitches and bugs, but the devs have been working on them. There's been a lot of hotfixes. You can now subscribe to WoW and play every expansion through Legion. All you need is to pay the $15 a month sub, and you get access to everything up to 110. If you pay $60, you can get BFA, 30 days of game time, and a 110 boost. So it's the perfect time to get in. And they've also modified the Refer Friends system. It sounds like it's a little harder to get some of the rewards. I got all my rewards about a year or two ago because I bought over the Christmas sale and I referred myself a few times, and I referred a lot of friends to WoW too. Again, I'm a fan gnome, so I love WoW. Blizzard has released the official Battle for Azeroth release calendar. August 13th, we will get access to Battle for Azeroth, and once you reach level 120 and become exalted with the 7th Legion for the Alliance or the Honor Bound for the Horde, you will get the Dark Iron Dwarves for Alliance and the Magar Orcs. You also will need to complete the war campaign in Kotiris and Zandalar and earn the achievements Ready for War. It's saying here both Horde and Alliance, so I think you have to complete it on both sides to get each side's allied race. I still don't know where we're getting the Kotiran, but that'll come at some point, so I'm holding that boost for thunder. Ready? Aldir will be opening on September 4th. Millennia ago, seeking to understand the nature of their eternal foe, the Titans constructed this sprawling underground facility to research and quarantine captured specimen. They hoped that by studying the void energy that bound the old gods, probing it for weaknesses and reactions, they could find some way to neutralize it. They were horribly, horribly wrong. The facility was sealed away so that the horrors within would never be unleashed upon Azeroth. But now that these seals are broken, ... So there'll be 8 raid bosses, and their difficulties will be Raid Finder, Normal, Heroic, and Mythic. It'll open up at 120, and it will start for Normal and Heroic on September 4th. Mythic, Raid Finder Wing 1, which is Halls of Containment, will open on September 11th. Raid Finder Wing 2, Crimson Descent, will open up on September 25th. And Raid Finder Wing 3, Heart of Corruption, will open up on October 9th. On the same day that the raid opens up, BFA PvP Season 1 and the BFA Mythic Keystone Dungeon Season 1 will also start as well. We are currently in a storm of story content. Pre-patch content Part 1 and Part 2 of War of Thorns is now live for 110 characters. There's a guide at Wowhead for the event. There's also a mount awarded for completing both Part 1 and Part 2. CTR Discord and Warcraft devs on Twitter have confirmed that once you complete it on one faction, you get the other faction's mount. I can confirm this as well. You want to hurry though, because the event goes away once BFA launches, and so do the mounts. Showing how Blizzard has a sense of humor, Hannah Straw, who has been making awesome gnome and goblin artwork, has posted a screenshot from Blizz Cafe. Well, actually, that's not a screenshot, it's a picture, but hey. But you never know, is life a game? But they have a picture from the Blizz Cafe about a dish that is logs of Teldrassil cinnamon rolls. And I know it's sad about what happened with Teldrassil, but the cinnamon rolls look so good. World quests are unlocked, as well as war mode features of airdrops and bounty hunting have both been enabled for Darnassus. And Ali on Discord found an interesting, cool little tidbit. Over in Silithus, there are elites. They're earth elements blowing blue mist or something under the sword to maybe try and remove it from Azeroth. I kind of think it's like the Azeroth's immune system. And if you're dying to talk about the spoilers, we have a BFA spoilers channel in the Sparkspans Discord. And this week, Battle for Lordaeron launches on August 6th if you pre-purchase BFA. I wonder, will the EU get it the same day because we're going to have the global release? It would be awesome to finally have global patch cycles as well. With the push for BFA, Blizzard has done an amazing job with their marketing. There are 4 new television ads: Rainy Day, Kids' Choice, Elevator, and Bus. I love them all. I especially like Bus. Also, Kids' Choice is fun as well, but I'm a gnome, so maybe I like toys. On July 11th, Blizzard Australia and New Zealand posted about 2 delicious burgers. If you head on down to Burgers by Josh at the Annandale or the Raby Tavern, you can choose which faction you want, and you get a delicious Horde or Alliance themed burger. I wonder, do the plushies come along with those? If anyone's over there and has tried a burger, let me know if they look delicious, because I'm salivating. It's like bacon and burgers and chicken. Okay, back to the news. In an interesting marketing push, there was a Battle for Azeroth wrestling match. So the translation by Media Tiempo is that this event will have a very special flavor, since there'll be a direct confrontation between AAA and Lucha Libre Elite, who'll be representing the 2 factions of the video game. Under the red banner, AAA superstars like Psycho Clown, Son of the Phantom, Fabi Apache, and Dr. Wagner Jr. will defend the honor of the AAA and the Horde, while under the blue banner, LA Park, Electroshock, and Zoixis? I think I pronounced that right. Golden Magic, the Traumas, and several more will fight for the glory of Lucha Libre Elite and the Alliance. I love how ridiculous this is. I feel there's a lot of fun marketing going on. And speaking of ridiculous but awesome, Geek and Sundry have a celebrity D&D adventure with Terry Crews. Terry Crews of Brooklyn Nine-Nine and Everybody Hates Chris. Those are the 2 shows that I know him best from. Came on Celebrity D&D to battle for Azeroth. Oh, and I heard from people on the Lagging Balls Discord that Blizzard has a booth at Gen Con this year. My sister's over at Gen Con right now for Sea Dog Game Studio showing off Sail Power and Tech Commander, which is the miniatures games that they run. It's so amazing that the Blizzard's at what I would probably consider is probably not quite as much of a video game convention. Oh, and there was an official preview of upcoming Jinx Battle for Azeroth products. Well, actually, by the time this is out, it's already out. It's launching on August 3rd, so some very cool designs. I gotta kind of meter out how often I buy this stuff, so I'll be buying this eventually if it doesn't run out, because there's some amazing stuff. And there was a Q&A on July 19th. Wowhead and Icy Veins have full coverage on the event. There were a lot of issues that resolved around the communities, which is why the day of the pre-patch, servers went down. They've been working hard to fix bugs and content. There was a lot of class and mechanic discussion here, so I don't want to go into all the weeds of it. And they talked some more about Azerite armor, loot, and class balancing. There was an interesting question that I think pertains to the earlier discussion we've been having on story. Someone said, as a Horde player, I find myself with little reason to hate the Alliance or take pride in the Horde right now. Is this a phase 1? The devs said that there's not much they can say because of spoilers, but they said there's more room in the picture that hasn't been revealed. The heart of the Horde still beats. But I'm Alliance, so I like the Alliance. But still, it's great they know that. And they said there's a wide range of motivations in the Horde. So I think there's a lot more for us to see, and there's a lot more going on, and it gives hope. I mean, Bane for War Chief, Bane for War Chief. So I think this is a great tidbit to remember regarding what is happening right now in the story. We only know a glimpse. And there was a little bit of question on allied races, but the requirements are going to stay the same. Oh, and if you've been wanting the chromatic sword, it has returned. And along with it, there's now a Demon Hunter Slayer's tabard in the Demon Hunter's Order Hall. You have to have completed the Order Hall mission to get it, and Blizzard has posted a zone spotlight of Tiragard Sound. It's located in the Kultiris subcontinent and nestled between the sea and great mountain ranges to the north and south. The ancestral home of the Proudmoors is a bustling land of opportunity. If you know where to look, the region of Tiragard Sound serves as the heart of Kultiris. Nearly bisected by the capital city of Borealis, the land is rich with wildlife in the hills and mountains to the north and south. Its people enjoy the bounty of the oceans to the south, east, and west. It is a realm of people in touch with both the land and the sea. As Alliance, I am so looking forward to Kultiris. I also am looking forward to Zandalar as well, but Kultiris looks so beautiful, and this zone spotlight is amazing. As we march toward BFA, there's been a lot of hotfixes, a lot more than I can talk about in one show, but a couple notable ones. You can now become exalted with the Centaur clans of the Gelkis and Megrim. After the pre-patch launch, people saw that they could complete this quest and they would get enough XP to become exalted. Apparently, since the Cataclysm, it has been hard to reach exalted with both clans. If you've already completed Death to a Gogrodon, you can now talk to Karnum Marshweaver to get the rep boost. Man, there's a lot of difficult names for me to talk about today. So I'm sorry to anybody that I mispronounced stuff. On July 20th, this is funny. They fixed a visual bug that caused some characters to lose the tops of their heads. I mean, we lose our heads all the time. That was just a funny hotfix. Then on July 30th, they had some mob scaling changes. We've just applied a hotfix that reduces the damage dealt by creatures between level 1 and 100 by up to 16%, reduces their health by up to 24%. Until a subsequent fix targeted for next week, that was back on July 30th, so it's possibly in by now. To update clients with new data, unit frames may not reflect the change in creatures' health, but combat should be faster and a bit less lethal across the board while leveling. And then also on July 30th, the XP required from 40 to 100 has been reduced. The reduction averages 14% between levels 60 to 80, with smaller reductions at other levels. And they said that the new required amounts may not always display properly for the time being. This was posted by Warcraft devs on 7/30 of 18. And this is post 8.0 stat squish, so I don't know how it compares to 7.3.5 levels, if this goes back to where those were, or if this even takes it down farther. But I was leveling Thunder to 100 before pre-patch. It did seem to take a long time in the 70s and 80s. I actually got to a place where I had to kind of push through a little bit. I mean, I like that it took a little bit more time, but time will tell when I do another alt if it takes the same amount of time. Oh, and a fun side bug fix. The bounty board for Wanted Hogger went missing and has been found and put back in its place. I guess Hogger was trying to stop people from capturing him. There are a couple upcoming hotfixes. They are doing some PvP tuning and a quest log bug. There was a bug that emptied the quest log when changing zones. They have rolled out a hotfix, but they cannot restore quests and at this time won't be doing rollbacks. So if you lost the quest, you go back to the quest giver, But they said if there was an item in your quest inventory, not your inventory, but your quest inventory, they cannot find that back because there's a lot of stuff in the logs and they don't know when you might have got the items long ago. So it happened between a small window, but they're very sorry about it. They believe they have it all fixed. They are also hotfixing some specs that have been overperforming in PvP. Have you ever been wanting to fight with fish? There is a Stinkrot Smasher in Battle for Azeroth. There's a one-handed mace fish. Well, I gotta get this. And I'm looking forward to this because it's fun to be like, fish slap. I'm thinking of there's some movie I'm thinking of that has fish slapping. Hey, let me know if you know what it is. There's also a official preview of the Heart of Azeroth. Blizzard has posted an official description of the Heart of Azeroth. You'll empower your necklace using AP, and then empower your gear using the collected AP. Raid gear will have 4 available rings. The cost to reforge and respec your gear decreases every 2 days. There's still much for me to learn about this system, but I'm starting to understand the system much better. When last night, Blizzard posted a new cinematic called Old Soldier. It is with Sourfang. The cinematic team has done an amazing job. Don't watch it unless you've done the War of Thorns content. This was apparently released at the China Joy Fan Expo. This is one of the most lifelike cinematics I've seen yet. Oh, and a character that we know makes a return, so you will know exactly who it is. If you're looking for a hint, look in the opening cinematic for BFA. Sad news, Duncan Jones said that the Warcraft movie sequel is very unlikely. Duncan Jones on July 15th said that too many companies involved to thread that needle to get a Warcraft movie sequel. And on July 19th, Duncan Jones released some Warcraft movie behind-the-scenes footage. And because this is amazing for where esports is going, the Overwatch League finals averaged a viewership of over 860,000. This isn't WoW-related, but this shows esports is gaining huge momentum. And WoW has gone the esports format to talk about the Olympic Games. And speaking of Overwatch League, the Overwatch League has announced 2 new teams in Atlanta, Georgia, and Guangzhou, China. I'm still hoping for an Ohio team, maybe even a Columbus or OSU team. Please, Blizzard. I mean, we have the esports arena for MLG here. But until then, I root for Philadelphia Fusion, who almost won the finals. Great job, though, to Spitfire. And I am part of the Discord Hype Squad, so I love Discord news. Discord is adding priority speaker and voice chat. But this way, for raid teams and groups, you'll be able to have a role set as priority speaker, and then that way it'll kind of lower or mute the other people in the channel. There are instructions on setting up this in the show notes. Oh, and I am seeing reports that screen sharing is coming to servers. I wonder if this means video chat support as well. Both features are available already in DMs and group DMs, but I've been waiting for it to be server because I might even move video chat over from the service I use to Discord once it opens up. Right now, I like having a server channel for people to join to listen to the show. And I've got 5 final geek topics. Trogdor, the board game Kickstarter, has launched. It is by the people behind Homestar Runner, the brothers chaps. Help the beefy armed dragon Trogdor burnate the countryside in this cooperative game of Burnination, Majesty, and Consummate V's. They've already blown past their stretch goal of 75,000. Whoa, they're almost to 1 million. There are 12 days to go, so if you want to get this awesome board game, check it out. On a related note, because I grew up with Homestar Runner, Homestar Runner has been on YouTube, and they are finally redoing the site to not be in Flash, and Peasant's Quest is now playable in all browsers. Rugrats is set to relaunch with a Nickelodeon series and a live-action Paramount movie. Don't know how I feel about this. All Grown Up, I did not like. I liked it as the one movie they did, but then the series lost the charm. But I'm willing to give it a chance. It could be good. The cast for Star Wars Episode 9 has been announced, and filming started on August 1st. The movie is scheduled for December of 19, so we have a long way to go. There's also an extremely detailed Hogwarts Castle Lego set. It is $400. Apparently, it's one of Lego's biggest sets. I played with the Legos a lot as a kid, so this is really cool. And finally, it is looking like Disney is absolutely going to own 21st Century Fox. Shareholders have approved Disney's $71.3 billion acquisition of Fox. So it is entering the final stages, so we will see what happens. Well, that is the news. But before we go, what time is it?
Let's look at what has been happening in the community.
Awesome. Let's do that. If you're wanting to enter the BlizzCon Community Night, Registration is now open, so head on over to the BlizzCon website. I'll have a link in the show notes. You can sign up. I heard from Rhett Pallegio that the rules from last year have thankfully been corrected. Oh, and Hot Topic has announced a BlizzCon fan art t-shirt contest. That's not the way you say Hot Topic, but I'm thinking of Hot Pockets. Submit an original design inspired by one of your Blizzard faves for a chance to win $2,000 grand prize. The last day to enter is 8/15. We were unsure on the future of World of Podcasts, but Medieval Times has partnered with Con Before the Storm to bring us World of Podcasts 2018. Huge thanks goes out to Perfect Nomad, who actually works for Medieval Times. I gotta make it out there one day to see it. I've been to Medieval Times in Orlando, Florida. Really enjoyed it. But I would love to go. Apparently, they actually changed the theming of Medieval Times, the jokes for the show during the week of BlizzCon, so you get some Blizzard jokes. And if you are a new or returning player, Cellular Gaming has a What is World of Warcraft series. These are guides for new and returning players to help get you up to speed. Ashbringer-wielding paladin, Rhett Pallegio, filmed their video entry for Grab Your Sword, Fight the Horde. They also released a new parody song as well called Faction. I'll have a link in the show notes to both, and you can find them on YouTube at PallyPowerXIX. And Weak Auras has announced the first Weak Auras art contest. With Battle for Azeroth on the horizon, the Weak Auras team is running the first ever art contest for Weak Auras to update our built-in textures and sounds for the new expansion set. Submission period ends August 31st. And you remember how right after Chris Metzen retired, Scott Johnson had an amazing interview? Well, Scott Johnson has announced that he will have a follow-up interview with Chris Metzen on the Instance this week. Oh, and Scott Johnson was recently inducted into the Academy of Podcasters Hall of Fame. Oh, and Elizabeth E.D. made an adorable artwork of me. I call it the Keep a Deadly Frasley. I have a link in the show notes. But thank you again, Elizabeth. This was awesome. And with the launch of FreePatch, there are many communities now in-game and on BNet. Check out your favorite community like Lagging Balls, CTR, or I hope it's one of your favorites, our community of Sparkspan. Our communities can be found at sparkspan.com. These communities still crash the servers and have gone on and offline at certain times. There are still some glitches in the matrix, so be warned. Many ways now to keep in contact. Oh, and for people that love to run the auction house, and people like me who are trying to get better at it, Gradescale Master 4 has launched. Great app and great job on this version. This one is very intuitive. I'm still learning TSM overall, but awesome job. I love some of the changes you've made because it makes it a lot simpler for me to understand. Oh, and Lagging Balls' 150th episode is coming, and there will be prizes. So listen to their 150th episode on how you can win. There's some awesome prizes lined up. And congratulations on 150 episodes and the community you have built. And lastly, thank you to Epicinsanity, who will be joining us on the next episode for the awesome 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. The man with the epic beard said, "Not just a podcast for gnomes. Frazzlecast is one of my favorite World of Warcraft community-focused podcasts. Each episode is bound to make you smile and will leave you wanting more. Because after all, who gets full off of a gnome-sized snack? Also, the audio quality is A++. Thank you again, Epic. This was a huge honor to hear because you edit so many podcasts that the fact that you said this is a great podcast just warms my heart. Now, is my heart small because I'm a gnome? And Polly sent a very encouraging email as well as some text messages. Polly said that Frazzlecast and the Frazz Report has made their love for WoW podcasts come back. And I have gotten to know Polly and Epicinsanity both over the past few months, and it's been amazing. Just meeting people that I consider role models and being able to collaborate on different things. Thank you again for all of these words of encouragement. Everybody who's talked with me over the past year, thank you again. Words like this help to encourage me to continue making this content. I love making this show, but it is helpful to hear from listeners and friends. You don't know the jolt of energy that comes to me when I hear that it helps someone. It's actually better than coffee. Well, that was one lit episode of Frazzlecast. It is great to be back. It was nice to be able to be off for a bit, but I'm so glad to be back in the podcast studio again. I am Frazzly, and you can find the show at frazzlecast.com. Until next week, be awesome.
Conflagration control cock-up could cause combustible catastrophe. It's the Overly Dramatic News. I'm Hunts the Wind. The advantages of living in a forest are many. Clean air, peace and quiet, ready access to food and water, the list is long. But for all the positives, there are also some negatives. The Night Elves of Teldrassil do what they can to mitigate these downsides. For example, their druids maintain excellent relations with the area's termites, and special groves of tasty trees are cultivated to prevent the wood chompers from being tempted by buildings. Another risk is fire, and here the choice was to contract out the solution, a magical fire suppression system installed by Cogglethorpe & Sons, Tinkertown's engineering specialists. The system draws power from the ground itself to guarantee 100% uptime. Unfortunately, the Swordpocalypse in Silithus appears to have destabilized leyline energy across all Azeroth, and many elves worry that the integrity of the extinguishers could be compromised. As one elf put it, we should never have farmed out the job. All it would take is one cooking fire getting out of control, and Darnassus could be Gnome more. Broadcasting across all Azeroth, I'm Hunts the Wind. Check out the archives at overlydramaticnews.com or follow me on Twitter at Hunts the Wind.
You look to me like a slacker. Yeah, that's right. That's right, I am a slacker.
Join these two slackers for a bi-weekly chat about beer, gaming, tech, and something random every show.
Just search Slackers Studio in your favourite podcast app. If you can be bothered.
You're a slacker.
Welcome to the Frazzly Report, a short news report by me, Frazzly, the awesome gnome, to deliver your World of Warcraft news. Horde troops are on the move. I was out on the field last week helping with the war efforts. I was hiding from the Horde that have been in war mode. Today, I am safely reporting from Darnassus, where a peace rally is currently taking place. Members of the Alliance, as well as some pacifist Horde, have gathered to show solidarity for ending the fighting. There are protest signs and people holding hands in support. Tauren, undead, goblins, dwarves, gnomes, night elves, blood elves, Pandaren, Nightborn, void elves, you name it, they are here. Some of the signs say, "She will not divide us." Others are saying, "Not my war chief." And others say, "Save the Titan Azeroth." I will cut now to a speech by the goblin Wayne Strongjolt, the head of the peace campaign, who has backed the whole event through gold they have made thanks to their use of the auction house and the add-on trade skill master.
Inhabitants of Azeroth, as well as the Draenei who have come to our planet, we all share this Titan of Azeroth. Some wish to use what they can of the glorious planet we call home. Even the elementals around Silithus are trying to restore Azeroth from the wound of Sargeras' sword. Sylvanas, who many have followed because of her dedication to protecting the Horde, seems to be on a warpath to reap whatever benefit she can from Azeroth, which is a byproduct of hurting Azeroth. We have gathered here as one, children, friends, even some who have been enemies, to proclaim our love for Azeroth. We wish to set aside our weapons, because we just went through an awful and terrible war against the Legion. We do not want to start another one, while we are still recovering from the wreckage of the Legion. This past week, we saw the slaughter of many Night Elves in Astanar. We saw Horde and Alliance locked in a fight that has happened since Warcraft 1, which was released in 1994. Can we once and for all put down our weapons? Put aside our differences? Maybe the Alliance and Horde are not that different after all.
Oh, that was a wonderful speech by Gans. Oh, that speech has moved me. As much as I have shown my disdain for the Horde, this past week has made me rethink things. Oh, look! The famous band, the World Tree Family, are about to perform a song they have made.
We are all the same. Why do we fight each other now? Because we are all the same. Horde and Alliance are all the same. Let's put our weapons down now. We are all the same. Why do we fight each other now? We are all a part of Azeroth. We have no reason to fight each other. We are all the same. We are part seems to repeat itself, but we are all the same. We are all the same. Why do we fight? Why do we fight? We are all the same. We are all the same. Why do we fight? Why do we fight? We are all the same. Horde and Alliance, gnomes, dwarves, undead, Tauren, Pandaren, gnomes. Did I say gnomes? We are all the same. Horde and Alliance, we are all the same. Why do we fight? Why do we fight? Why do we fight?
Reports are coming in. Flames have started to rise up. This is terrible. This once great tree is burning. Oh, I can hardly talk. This is horrible. People are panicking and running around. Mages have started making portals to Orgrimmar, Stormwind, Undercity, Ironforge, and to Dalaran. I'm about to take one of the portals to Dalaran. I sure hope this one doesn't go to the Dalaran crater. Everyone, I must now flee to get to safety. I fear the tree is lost. Why, oh why? I am sending you to Toshmifune at the Halfhill Report, who has been following this coverage of the peace rally for their next broadcast. Oh, this will forever change history.
Frasley? Frasley? Okay, listeners, it's not clear what's caused this tragedy, but please, if you're listening anywhere in the area of Darkshore, please just get to safety and try to help those who are doing the same. If you happen to see the Halfhill Report's correspondent, Eamon Wetbranch, please ask him to contact us as soon as he can. Oh, God, this is just awful. I had such hopes that there was still a chance. It's hard to say what will happen next, but the Halfhill Report will monitor this story as it evolves, and we'll provide our listeners with any information we can on our next broadcast. Fraz, if you can hear this, please stay safe. This is Toshmifune for the Halfhill Report, signing off.
Have you ever asked yourself what the world of Azeroth looks like from the perspective of a small village in Pandaria? Did you ever wonder what a weekly news show on a Pandaren college radio station would sound like? If not, well, that's probably a good thing, actually. But the creators of the Halfhill Report sure did. So each week, your host, Toshmifune, that's me, brings you a short and very lighthearted view of the current goings-on in Azeroth as viewed by the only journalism major at Halfhill Agricultural College. So join us each week on the Halfhill Report as we share our small-town view of a very large world.
Frazzlecast is a fan podcast that covers Blizzard games. We are not affiliated with Blizzard Entertainment. Views expressed by the host and guests are their own. Some of the art, music, and sound effects come from Blizzard games and are owned by Blizzard Entertainment, Inc. No copyright infringement is intended.
Want more awesomeness every week? Visit weeklyawesome.com. Weekly podcasts to make your week better. Remember to smile and be awesome.